Welcome to Reparenting Daily, your free daily guide for inner child healing and repairing the relationship with yourself. This podcast helps you establish a consistent reparenting routine and is divided into 3 sections. The first is the daily reading, the second is a discussion of the reading, followed by suggested journal prompts, and the last section is peaceful binaural beats meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us. I'm so glad that you could join us on this journey of self-expansion. If this is your first time here, welcome. As a celebration of passing episode 700, I've opened a free membership tier for the Patreon community so you can access additional resources and join the weekly Zoom calls for free. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now and that so many people are really struggling. My hope here is to still encourage others to continue the work on reparenting and to offer a free community where people can come together and do that. I'd also like to thank all of you who've been along on the journey so far. Just as a reminder, this is a free podcast, but you can support the project by purchasing the Reparenting Daily journal, where you can follow us along all year. This 333-page journal gives you extra insight and resources for each week, and also provides space for you to keep your notes. Another way to support the podcast is to purchase the Fairy Tales for Reparenting series, volumes 1 through 3. This collection organizes famous and obscure fairy tales from around the world into the 3 phases of the hero's journey. While you might think that fairy tales are for kids, I'd like to challenge you. These stories contain profound truths and lessons carried down over millennia that we can use in our reparenting journey. It's a fun way to reconnect with your inner child. Each volume comprises 10 fairy tales. They include an analysis section to help you dive deeper into the message, as well as journal prompts and space to reflect on the story's meaning in your life. Lastly, you can also support the project by taking a paid Patreon subscription, by purchasing the books on the website, or by donating via Buy Me a Coffee. You can find all this information on the Support Us section of the website. So now, with these announcements out of the way, let's dive into today's practice. Hey guys, today we're going to be listening to a portion of a video called Thoughts Create Reality by Joseph Rodriguez. As a reminder, you can find the link in the show notes as we're only listening to a portion of it. I do encourage you to listen to it in its entirety. He has plenty of other very interesting details and mind maps, as he calls them. And so we're now at the end of June, halfway through the year, guys. It's really flying by. The theme for this month has been cultivating self-worth and self-love. We are in week 4, and this is the second Monday episode on celebrating your uniqueness. And this episode is a bit different. Actually, when you listen to this lecture, you might think, what in the world does this possibly have to do with celebrating your uniqueness? Thought engineering, or as Joseph here explains, your thoughts create your reality. If you go to my YouTube channel, you will see the audiobook As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Joseph mentions this audiobook or this book, as well as, by the way, that's quite short. It's under 1 hour. I think it's like 54 minutes long. So definitely check that out. It's something that he said he listened to on repeat as he was learning to shift his mindset and to build better thoughts to establish a more effective or desired reality. All right, so the reason that I've selected this lecture for this particular issue of celebrating your uniqueness is because your thoughts do indeed create your reality. And you are in charge of your thoughts. You have the ability to choose how you think and you feel at any moment. At any moment. As we hear from Brian Withers, Neville Goddard, Rev Ike, all of these people, James Allen, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, you have the ability to control your thoughts and emotions and your feelings. And when you're working to improve your self-image, sometimes you will have to do that in isolation, depending on your circumstances. It might be more or less that you have to do this in isolation without receiving that initial feedback that normally you receive as a child that allows you to enter that upward spiral. So you have to get yourself in that upward spiral on your own. And that means engineering your thoughts to celebrate your uniqueness. For example, maybe you grew up in a town, in a country town where everybody played sports, very active. All of the guys were either on the basketball or football team or something, and you weren't. And so that might have programmed some kind of feeling of inferiority, less than, not good enough, or some kind of belief into your mind, even all the way back from high school, for example. And so you need to learn how to engineer your thoughts to rework and excavate that faulty subconscious belief and to replant it or to to replace it with something that is more supportive, more empowering, more true to who you are and the identity and personality you want to express in this world. And so the fact that these two ideas or concepts, celebrating your uniqueness versus your thoughts create your reality, seem a bit disparate, but they actually are mutually reinforcing. You celebrate your uniqueness, truly and fully embody your celebration of your uniqueness by engineering your thoughts to build your self-image. That is the pathway. And it's something that many traditions don't really speak about. What comes to mind is the ACA program. The deeper I go into this project, the more I see that is missing from the ACA program, the Adult Children of Alcoholic and Dysfunctional Families, the 12-step program. I always had this hunch that something is wrong, something is missing there. And as I continue with this progress, it gets clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. It's the lack of focus on empowerment. The fact of the matter is, people in that program are going to this one book and thinking this is the perfect solution. I had to follow every single step. I had to do every single rule. But they are doing the same thing as an organized religion. They are externalizing God into this book and this program. And by doing that, they are devaluing, disrespecting their own self, their own knowledge, their own confidence. They are rejecting God in themselves by relying on something external. Now, there ideally should be a way to use these materials to return you sufficiently to your true self so that you are able to act from that alignment, that self-ego access where you are actually expressing and living your true self. Then everything is falling into place. And it takes some time to get there if you had some bumpy start, for example. So without further ado, let's go ahead and listen to Joseph Rodriguez. I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and I'll see you after.
I titled today's mind map, Ideal Thoughts That Create Our Reality. So today I had the opportunity to go through one of my favorite books, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. As I've been working with this information for many years now, since 2004, having discovered it through Think and Grow Rich, and at the time being in $50,000 debt and applying the information, and not only getting out of debt, but also buying my first house, using the information to rise up in corporate, receive a number of different promotions, and then in 2009 decide that I was going to leave. 10 years I worked there to start my own IT business, in which, again, working with this information allowed me to grow it from 2009 to 13. And although it was successful, I reached an interesting point where one of the business partners, who actually ended up taking on a number of my clients when I transitioned, and they had a larger IT business. We were talking about the different experiences that they were having, and I realized for me, what I found to be the most joyous aspect of doing that business was communication in regards to helping the businesses with their sales, their marketing, their leadership, their ways of thinking, mindset. I found that I lit up the most during the sales presentations with the clients when we would talk about those areas more so than the IT services. And I found that this listening to what I intuitively desire and my inner voice also showed up in the later stages of my corporate career, as there was talks with management in regards to stepping more into a leadership role. I could go in the direction of the leadership roles and moving up in the corporate environment, which I felt for me would have been a great path also. And what I was intuitively even more excited to do was to take what I had learned from the 10 years of experience and then build the IT business around that, in which then I transitioned into consulting and also started this YouTube channel. So what I found is, for me, the best way to work with this information is to go about my day-to-day life, my business life, my personal life, and see where this information that I've been working with can be integrated to a deeper degree. Also, revisiting the information. I like to read the same books again and again because we recognize that as we go through the same information, we understand it even more so as we experience the changes within ourselves. So today I revisited this book and I've got some insights from today's reflections and infuse in our conversation. And I also want to tie this into another one of my favorite books, a very short book. I've done a discussion on it, a few discussions actually, The 7-Day Mental Diet by Emmett Fox. So our premise, as he says, mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth. So imagine mind being blank. And so what we're looking to do with this conversation is to fill our mind up with the thoughts that are ideal and distinct with how we imagine ourselves to be, ideally, in relation to different areas of our life, and to live and operate from that premise. So then we are consciously working with the two gifts of speech and mind, as in we're consciously deciding what to identify with. The beautiful thing about going through this information and applying it every day is it becomes a habit. It becomes a way of life. You'll find that it's easier to think of thoughts that are ideal, in harmony with how you truly want to live, in relation with your goals, your vision, relating with each other, and so forth. And it'll be easier to maintain it. So as he says, we sooner or later discover that we are the master gardener of our soul and the director of our life. He says he also reveals within himself the laws of thought and understanding with ever-increasing accuracy, how the thought forces and mind elements operate in the shaping of his character, circumstances, and destiny. So I find that when we commit to a vision, whatever we desire to experience in our life, we want to operate from the premise that it already exists now. This is the commonality that we find in all this information. As he says here, cherish your visions, cherish your ideals, cherish the music that steers in your heart, the beauty that forms in your mind, the loveliness that drapes your purest thoughts, for out of them will grow all delightful conditions, all heavenly environment. Of these, if you but remain true to them, your world will at last be built. To desire is to obtain. To aspire is to achieve. The greatest achievement was, at first and for a time, a dream. The oak sleeps in the acorn. The bird waits in the egg. And in the highest vision of the soul, a waking angel steers. Dreams are the seedlings of reality.
Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this lecture by Joseph Rodriguez. And I hope that you have gained some better understanding of how you can work with your mind to improve and build your self-image, which then will improve how your life is flowing because you are then aligned with your true self, which is a celebration of your uniqueness. And so as you listen to this lecture today, what were the things that really stuck out to you? For me, it was an acknowledgement or a deeper understanding, I would say, of how much power and control I actually have over my own self-image. I don't have to allow anyone to influence my self-image unless I give them that permission. And so it helps you to exit this victim mentality, this stance that you are helpless or hopeless, and it is really more empowering. It moves you into a place of trust with yourself, with the universe. Celebrating your uniqueness regaining your aliveness and vitality, it not only allows you to achieve your dreams faster, it allows you to be more safe, it allows you to be more in the flow and live in abundance as opposed to a place of fear or scarcity, lack, and limitation. You literally define your reality. You can create whatever reality that you want. That's why it's so important. So important to respect yourself and your mind, your true self. Dostoevsky said the worst sin is to betray yourself for nothing. It's true. To hand over your will and your life to others who don't have your best interest, because each person is, by nature, by default, self-serving. Celebrating your uniqueness is an expression of self-love. It's how you declare to the world that you love yourself. And to do that fully and to embody that energy and to raise your vibration, quite frankly, you must clear the subconscious mind of all those faulty beliefs that keep you limited, all of those false beliefs that would force on you from others that you have integrated into your own self-understanding and self-image have to be removed. Empty the mind of all positive and negative egoic thoughts. Return to center. You have more power than you realize. You have more influence than you realize. You have the power to love yourself. And for people who've grown up in dysfunctional families, it might take you some time to truly understand and to feel that, but I assure you, it is more than possible. And it's not even difficult. It's simply a matter of deciding to change your perspective. It's a matter of deciding to value your opinions over the opinions of others. So as we go to the journal prompt today, number 1, where in your life do you feel most empowered to shape your thoughts and reality? Are there certain situations or topics or relationships where you feel more in control than in others? Number 2, how often and how consciously do you celebrate yourself, your uniqueness, your personality, your quirks? How often do you celebrate even the things that others might see as negatives? And number 3, what supports do you need to set in place to support the construction of your new self-image by mastering your thoughts, by gaining the courage and boldness to express your uniqueness confidently and to fall in love with yourself? That's it for today. As always, thanks for being here. Take care of yourself, and please do be well. Welcome back. Now, this is the third and final section of the daily podcast. This is your silent meditation. Please find a place where you can be comfortable and undisturbed, where you can relax and spend some time with yourself for the next 10 minutes. You can choose to be sitting, standing, lying down, or in whatever position makes you most comfortable today. Just take some time to listen to yourself. Next, be sure that you're taking time to be with your breath and to connect more fully with your body. Don't be disturbed or overwhelmed by your thoughts. Simply allow them to pass. Just observe them. Do not engage with your thoughts. Only be mindful of them passing, as if they are leaves drifting down top of a river. Use this time to connect with yourself, whatever time of day you are listening to this. Namaste.